Hello and welcome back to In Pursuit of. Our guest, Swati Roy, is the co-founder and festival director of Bookaroo Children's Literature Festival. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Swati, how do you curate voices and stories for young readers when mainstream narratives dominate?
I understand what you're saying. It's just that the strong belief that we have that I know there is a narrative there, there's a parallel narrative. How do I make my sessions more interesting? So I won't say that we compare. We don't compare. We continue to do what we are doing. The support comes from the narrative itself, the stories itself. The stories have evolved. We are no longer telling stories which are, passé or from the past, So therefore, the contemporariness comes through the stories itself, the narratives itself. So many of them are, fusion stories, stories between India and, say, another country, that kind of. I don't know if you know about this book called Postbox Kashmir.
No.
Where two children are writing to each other, letters, no email, nothing. So they are getting to know each other via these letters, and the questions that each one asks for what is happening in Kashmir, and the other child is saying what's happening in the plains, is so authentic. It was a BBC project, and it became a book. So I'm saying that these are narratives which are happening in the real world.
Real things,
right?
And they are modern narratives.
Narratives. So we don't have to really. So if somebody is not interested, no need to pull them. That's all right. There are various other things to do. But I have to say that, it has worked. It has worked. We've just evolved or, redesigned or brainstormed a little bit more about how to make it a little more contemporary. Maybe contemporary meaning just belonging
more
to today's world.
Appealing to...
That's right. Yeah. Maybe the titles become a little, fun titles because we do everything from scratch, So the book title is not the title of the session. It's something totally different. So those are little things that we have done, but I think, yeah, it works. And there's so much variety we add. For example, I was thinking of what does macramé have to do with literature, right? So I wanted that macramé session. So, I really felt also because, the lack of attention and all. So sometimes doing something like that, taking it back. And the lady who was doing it is very invested in children's literature. So we said, tie a knot for a friend. So it just became like that, and we made such a nice tapestry of these knots, and it became like a real high point in the middle of the festival because everything is in the open, So they just tied a knot for a friend, and whoever wanted to write a chit and put it in a jar, they did that also. But otherwise, that thing came out of this feeling. There was an author-illustrator from Switzerland. She had written a book. Would you believe it? The book is about so many years ago, how the world was. And then slowly the book comes to today and then tomorrow. So tomorrow means like next hour, next day, next week, next month, next year, and then 100 years from now, like that. So she just said, what is your wish for the future? So we had a dead tree in the venue, and we just strung little chits on it about your dream for the future. You should have seen how they, So what would you call it? It's not a narrative from the book. We are not opening the book and reading it out to them. We are not saying, look at this lovely illustration. She has won this award. We just brought out people's feelings. And believe me, there were walkers and, people like that. They just came, can I also write something? What are they getting out of it? They were so excited that, as if it's good. Someone even said no homework from tomorrow. Something as simple as that, and something more grave as to no wars, things like that. So that's the way it is. So the narrative is kind of created then and there, how we can at that point in what is happening in the world,
What's your take on, the digital versus print reading when, for children?
Well, frankly, Aparna, I have to say we are old school. And also, since we start from a younger age, like 4 years, and in the bookshop even younger, we feel that it should be print for a good number of years, at least till 7. It should be tactile. It should be holding a book. So many factors, and it's all done to death, all these things that we are talking about. The bonding between parents and, to be able to identify something, come back to it. Mother or whoever is the reader for the child, adds a little own story to the story to make it more real, something from the house or things like that. I mean, that kind of bonding and that reasoning is there for me. And of course, the fact that screens can be a deterrent for the child's focus, the child's ability to comprehend, imagine. Most important is imagine. I just always, even now I feel, after I've seen a movie that I read, sometimes I don't like the idea, what I thought and what they're showing, that kind of
That's
thing.
true.
So yeah, we are old school in terms of that. Yes, eventually digital reading will be there. But I think in the formative years, the years when there is scope to bond with the child, it should continue to be print.
That's right. I mean, I'm a very big supporter of print reading, even the newspapers.
I'll tell you one thing that, we've been discussing it in office is that, okay, I like a certain kind of news. That's it. Once the screen knows you like that kind of news, that's what you'll get. It's not the newspaper that you can go to the sports page and you can come back and you said, oh, page 3, I wanted to see the, rain situation or something. You see one rain news and then it's only about
Keep showing
the
you that.
algorithm will kill you, Sorry. There are big tech companies
So
involved.
unfortunate. We will not say their names.
Yeah, no, all I'm saying is, no, they will. I mean, this is going against the grain, but that's a fact, isn't it?
But I'm glad people are now recognizing it. And actually, the first step is just recognize that this is a problem.
Yeah.
And it's too much.
Just to be aware of it.
Yes.
Yeah, just to be aware of it.
I think that's the first step. Then to accept that this can be a serious problem.
Yeah.
And then will come the remaining battle.
And then each has their own way of tackling it. I have to say this, because we have professional needs. We have even educational, even teachers and parents might be needing things. So each can, but be aware of it. That's all I say. Don't just brush it under the carpet,
Absolutely.
That kind of a thing.
Totally. Yeah. And for children, I think they're at such an age where it's just so hard for them to understand what is okay and what's not.
Because if you're born seeing just that, or at that stage, we know those examples that they won't eat unless it's the iPad or whatever. I just feel that another opportunity lost, and with especially in Delhi and all, I feel there's so much traffic. Maybe if you're working parents, you get so little time to spend with the child.
Yes.
Just use every moment that you have through a book, through some stories. Don't have to bring the book in between. Maybe just your own stories, own experience, something, and just to say, oh, I'm so tired, you eat. In fact, I was watching reels, which are a very real thing now. It was a webinar about reading, I think, and I just saw a short bit of it where, a celebrated Hollywood actor was saying so much of the conversation between a parent and a child is about negotiating how much time. Isn't it?
It is so true, and it is exhausting.
All
and
the
it's
time,
day after day,
day
hour
after day. You just cannot get away from it. And then he also said that, I don't know the names, but you want to go to friend A's house and not friend B's house because friend A has easy access to the screen.
Yes.
Can you imagine?
Yes.
And it is a real thing. I'm not
These are
being
realities.
judgmental about it, but if you look at it from a distance, it is a scary thought.
It is.
And what are we talking? We should be talking about, no, I want this. I don't know. It's about the book or the story or an experience, but only about how much time. No, I said 2 hours. No, I said 1 hour. But yesterday I didn't do so much.
Oh my God, you just spoke about my life. Okay. Okay, but Swati, tell me, just as a thought, when you just said, and this is not part of my question list, but when you said that parents could tell stories from their own lives or incidents or their experiences, a lot of parents struggle with it, I'm sure. Why don't you have a session for parents to learn how to tell stories?
You won't believe this. Tomorrow we have a session. Today at 5 o'clock.
Are you serious?
This is giving me goosebumps. Tu mujhe suna, main tujhe sunaun. So we have a bunch of 11 storytellers who are coming to the bookshop, and some parents and grandparents who want to understand the nuance of storytelling.
How amazing.
So we are going to have a samosa dokla chai party and
I'm coming
telling
there.
stories.
I can't. But yes. But seriously, I mean, maybe even at Bookaroo, you said this time you tried parents,
Yes.
and parents might feel more empowered to be able to tell stories in a fun way to their children.
That's a good idea.
Because how many parents are able to engage with their children in that way?
True, no, that's a good.
Only dramatic parents like me. So.
No, I'm sure the Kahani Tree, the Kahani Tree, it's like a huge, the storytelling venue is called the Kahani Tree.
Achha.
So wherever we do the festival, one of the first things that we try to look for is which is going to be the Kahani Tree.
Nice.
So it's a huge tree usually, under which it's a very open venue. Many of the venues are limited numbers because of the resources that are needed. But the Kahani Tree is one venue which is open to all.
Nice.
Open to all, though it's age-wise, but open meaning parents can join in.
Very nice.
So what happens is the outer ring is always parents.
Huh.
While inside, children are enjoying or dancing or making a circle or whatever, tearing the storyteller's hair. So say that again, tell that again, don't stop or whatever. But parents do get to, and I really have examples of volunteers or parents who've come back and said that, I recorded it and I'm doing it now. So I feel very good.
Nice.
Yeah.
So nice. I'm sure parents will be thankful to you if you were to do these sessions.
To the authors, remember
To the
that, to the
authors.
storytellers.
Yes.
Yeah, just the bridge.
Okay. So, Swati, tell me what kind of partnerships or maybe innovations over the years have helped Bookaroo's reach?
So Bookaroo is quite actually reliant on partnerships. And over the years, we have built some very good relationships that have supported the entire endeavor. First things first is the venue partnership itself, to have a wonderful venue and not be able to pay for it sometimes. But the venue partner's investment in the idea is very important. Without that, it's not possible. So whenever we start a new city also, start the festival, work on a new city, that's one of the key factors, that the venue should be, shouldn't be very expensive, and it should be, centrally located, and all those facilities that a venue offers. Without that partnership, it would not be possible. And having been there for so long, this is going to be the 50th edition. So having been there for so long, we have had support from so many quarters. So if I start from the international, fraternity, the arts councils, the embassies, and even speakers who come from a certain country go back and talk about the festival and enthuse other speakers to then apply for it or write to us or make it easy for us to connect with them. So because then you don't have to do the base work of, who we are, what we do. Someone has already talked about you. So those are partnerships. What else would I say, So in fact, you won't believe, last year I had an opportunity to go to Australia for personal reasons. Once a person has participated in Bookaroo, we call them Bookaroos. So the Australian Bookaroos had, had a get together because I was there. It was so lovely, and each one has come at different years. So 2010, 2011, 2009, and we had a tea and cake kind of a or more than that. So those partnerships have been very valuable. Venue partnerships, and also these people, when they come, our speakers, they all come through, like I said, to the embassy here. And then, of course, the publishers, oh my God, without them, we would be nothing. So it really, really feels so good that at the beginning of the year, you get a mail saying that, what are your dates? We're planning this launch, or planning, releasing a book, or, printing it. So those are the partnerships that have helped us. And of course, a lot of schools, though it's not a school event, that, but still, the fact that, they plan their things and they send out messages, they tell what is what, and they'll want to know which are the key things that are going to happen, and then they, so that is another partnership we treasure a lot. Right. But yeah, so these kind of things, and of course, sponsors also become part of the team after a point, because they all want to know, they want to do more, want to be more engaged. I mean, there are sponsorship words, that how a sponsor is embedded in the festival. But apart from those marketing jargon words, there is a physical, emotional attachment to the festival when it happens. So every sponsor is, kind of a partner at that time, at another, at another level. So yeah, so all of these things have kept us going. Yes.
So nice. Yeah. Clearly it's running on a lot of really wonderful relationships,
I think,
that you've built over the years, which is quite amazing. And I'm sure it comes out in the festival itself. So in your pursuit of making happy childhood memories, what's been your most unexpected discovery?
It's not an unexpected, the word unexpected, Meena, but something that I hold dear to my heart and have seen it come through is the inner child in adults. The way they, kind of respond to the festival, they respond to the events, the way they become a child, actually, and not just, when I say adults, I don't mean parents alone. Like I was just talking about sponsors also. Sponsors have a target to meet, and
Yes.
whatever, sponsors, but even people who donate or something, I always see that there is some kind of a, childlike quality that comes to the fore, and that really gives you so much validation that you are doing something that is, it's touching people across ages, across levels.
That's actually really nice, and I'm sure that happens.
Yeah, it is. It is. And authors, so many times they'll say, "My God, I wish this was when I was growing up." Apart from parents, even speakers will say that, because I really, my hats off to the creators. Frankly speaking, there are no returns. Like as I said, children's publishing is not the most, most giving returns kind of thing. But the kind of work they do, the research they do, the depth that they go to be able to relate to children, and so that while the concept is true to what they wanted to do, but at the same time they are able to touch a person's life, the language, the nuance, the stance.
So cool, actually. So, Swati, what's the legacy that you think you'd like to leave behind with Bookaroo?
I won't say it's a legacy, Aparna. It would more be what we stood for. Because one of the things that we stood for and have huge belief in is reading for pleasure. So in this whole world full of competition and competitiveness, and what you take away from a book, what are you giving, things, kind of thing. What will they get when they come to a session? This whole idea of reading for pleasure. Just give the child an opportunity to read, and don't judge him. Don't put marks, don't put assessment, nothing. So I just hope we have been able to create that space. And sometimes I look at the other festivals that have come up. It was at the time when we started, there was just us, I think. The number of lit fests that have come up, it just goes on to validate that thought that, it's a legacy which is started. I mean, one can't be everywhere, and it's a wonderful feeling to see that so many people are doing it and doing it so well. So I would think that is the legacy, that, to promote reading for pleasure, just away from the classroom, away from the barriers, away from the uh, judging eyes of the adults or even others. Because I don't think any book is a taboo for any age or any genre, is because that also is another factor. I see a lot of times people say, "Oh, but shouldn't they be reading this at this age?" No, just read for pleasure, what you feel good about. So that is the legacy.
Swati, you were telling me something about where all, how do you manage inclusion, etc.
Right. So one of the elements of Bookaroo is that while the weekend festival is held at a central venue where people come to the festival, there are scores of people who may not be able to come to the festival for various reasons. So we have a slice of the festival going to those people. Now we can't go everywhere, but we choose depending on the city that we are in and how well versed we are with it. We go to places which are somewhat, schools run by NGOs, or, slums or homes for the homeless. So those are again partnerships as well, So we find out all the work that is being done by various people and take a little bit of the festival there. So it's 1 hour of joy and, art. And for example, when we go to a school for special needs, not even a school, a center for special needs, where children are actually making, things, vocational training and all they've got. And then an author comes and then we make a huge tree out of just recycled paper, as the recycled paper becomes bunches of fruits and all that we put. And then they look at it and they literally stomping in joy over the tree only.
Right.
But, that joy of, going to these places, which obviously I cannot, we also go to the blind school or, maybe to a hospital ward.
Right.
These are not to be talked about so much, but this is a little bit of a little bit of our outreach, that we could go there. And there are lots of schools where children cannot come. Parents wouldn't know, wouldn't have the wherewithal to bring children to the main festival. So it's the same pattern, 1 hour of joy and fun around books, and the same speakers who come to the main festival, ones who can afford to stay a few days longer or from that city. And then so in a day we might be doing 5, 6. It's the fortnight before the main festival. Okay. So that is something that we have. And one anecdotal thing is when we did it in Malaysia. So one of the schools that we had to go to was across the river.
Okay.
And the speaker, an Indian speaker, was chosen for this particular session. So she gets on a boat and she has to cross the river and go to the other side. And the boat stops in the middle of the river. And she's like, and it's raining, it's pouring. And she's in a yellow Macintosh, which the boat driver has given her. And she doesn't know. She says, "So what's going to happen?" He said, in his broken English, he said, "Another boat is going to come and you'll have to," "No, I'm not. I'm going to sit here." And the boat did come, and midway in the river, she actually crossed onto the other boat. And she said, "Swati, once I reached there and I saw the children's faces, I was so scared. I was so tired, exhausted, wet. children all, they just couldn't believe someone has come from mainland or the other side to come and tell them stories. And obviously there's a language issue because we were in Kuching, in Borneo, and but I have to say, hats off to my speakers and my storytellers. They just change themselves. They make it into a performance, a wordless performance sometimes. Get them to come musical, perform, dancing. So, and just that 1 hour of good fun and a lot of food. Malaysia's famous for good food also. So they had a wonderful time. So these kind of experiences, sometimes it's behind some gully, there's no address. So they find their own way. On the way, they would have picked up chart paper and crayons. An artist did that for us. And she went looking. She said, yeah, Swati, I'll find it. Not to worry, I'll find it. It was a sewing school for girls in back of the Beyond in a gully. So, things like that, those add so much, yeah.
So thank you so much, Swati. It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Same here.
Thank you for coming on our show. So the moral of the story is that you should keep reading and read as much as you can. And do remember to subscribe to In Pursuit Of.